Uh-oh, she's doing it again. Ripper! Hey? Oh, there's bait underneath us. It's crazy right now. How big?
I think, well, 14.
It's a beauty. Hey? It's bigger than 14. Yeah, real. Nice. Let's get her on hook, I guess, eh? Get her going?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Just like that, back again. Back at home. Early start this morning, 4 o'clock again. Sarah's turned into quite the angling savage. After catching that great big honker 32-pounder. And we went out again this morning, jigging. So you can, when you're salmon fishing here on the coast, you can troll, which means you put down big flashers and lures behind the boat, and they go deep down off the downrigger, and the motor and the boat goes around and drags gear all around, trolling all over the place, steering the boat all over the place. Whereas jigging is actually pretty stress-free for the skipper, because you just sit there in the boat. You don't have to anchor, but I prefer an anchor because I want to go tight to the rocks, get out of everybody's way that's trolling, have our own little corner. Throw the anchor out in 40 feet of water, that's it. And then basically the bow will swing into the wind, so you're covered from the wind in the back of the boat, and you just sit there and don't worry about steering or bumping into anybody, and just jig. Just put these little weighted lures on, you jig it off the bottom. Burp, burp, burp. And we actually outfished the trollers. In 3 days, well, we hooked a dozen spring salmon today, jigging, just between the two of us. That was a lot of fun. And maybe I'll share this clip right now, because while we were fishing, there's a whole pile of whales coming right between us and shoreline. Sarah loves whales, and I'm trying to film the whale, film it going by, and I didn't notice there's a smudge in the lens, unfortunate, whatever, it's always something. And as I'm filming the whale, boom, she hit a fish right beside me while the camera's on, and I managed to film it. So I'll share that right now before I get into sharing emails.
Fish?
No way. Oh my God. No way. Yeah. It's a big one?
I think so.
Woohoo! Whoa! What are we gonna do? Let him go? Huh? He's going crazy. What do you want to do?
You can let him go.
You sure? Yeah? Okay. Get going. Got it on video. I was filming the whale and you hit that fish. Got him right up to the top. You're plumb into me. Oh, he's all wrapped up. So nice. That's a nice looking fish, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Whoa. All right, so that was pretty fun. Now, moving along. I'm backed up in a million more new emails. I'm going to get everybody heard. This is actually pretty good for me. We just got home about 15 minutes ago, and this is a good thing for me to decompress. Just sit down in here by myself and hang out, do what I love to do, and relax for a couple minutes. Now, I've got a lot of emails. I didn't manage to do the Michael Jaco interview conversation yet, because when you're up at 4 in the morning and fishing all day, it does take a lot out of you. By the time you get to the dock, and it's been rainy and windy and everything, it just wasn't going to work out. It wouldn't have been good. So I texted them back and told them I'll do it Monday morning, so I'll be sharper. But I have had a handful of people emailing me, oh my God, warning me. It's almost like you got that friend, I don't know how to describe it, how I take it. When somebody emails me and tells me not to talk to someone, it almost reminds me back in your 20s and you're chasing chicks and that one girl you're interested in always has that friend that says, don't talk to him, don't do it, right? Kind of makes me laugh. I mean, I appreciate people being concerned for me, but think about it. Do you really think that I'm going to listen to anybody tell me what to or what not to do? Or who to and who not to speak to? Think about it before you email me, all right? Think about it. I don't jump on anyone's bandwagon in life, period. I look into things myself. And I follow my gut. I believe this man to be a truth seeker, truth speaker. Will he have some information that I might benefit from? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. My gut's going to know all, but nobody but my gut tells me what to do. Okay, so I appreciate people being concerned. If you think you're going to email me to tell me I shouldn't talk to anybody or shouldn't do something, don't do it. All right? Don't do it. My gut is the one that tells me. Period. Overrides myself, overrides everyone, of course, but I don't listen to anybody when it comes to telling me what I should or shouldn't do. It'll never happen in this lifetime. I can't help it. I was born that way. Moving along. Now, could you imagine how many people have told people not to talk to me? Right? Same deal. Now, this is titled, What the Hell? Steve, big fan. I'm listening for a couple of years. Never saw a Bigfoot or had an incident, but definitely believe they're real after watching you for so long. It got me thinking, with the creature that large, they would need at least 100 pounds of food a day just to live. Just a guess. So what could they be eating? Fish, deer, elk? Plenty of food, I guess. I'll stay safe. You do a great job. I love those other idiots who say you're arrogant, and you seem the total opposite to me. Okay, man. Frank Mangioli. Like a jolly man. Frank Mangioli. I got it. I got your last name, man. But my wife doesn't think so, lol. Okay, appreciate you emailing, Frank. What do they eat? From what we have seen and heard, they eat anything and everything, especially when it comes to protein. They don't give a flying shit. Do they eat full-time here on the planet? Wouldn't be surprised. I'm imagining they do get the nourishment from the planet. I'm imagining. Now, and there is a lot of food, natural food around. No problem in that department. No problem at all. What's this one? This might be an interesting read. This is titled, Bigfoot War is Coming Soon to a theater near you. I don't know what this is going to... Here we go. Steve, thanks again for the safe harbor. Non-attribution for many people is a must, since many of us have sensitive jobs and cannot disclose our personal identities for fear of damage to our professions. Kudos, bro. Thank you for the kind words, man. Having heard the many stories written in by viewers, and a few from locals that I've heard nearby your favorite mountain range in New York State, I've come to a few conclusions about the coming inevitable human and Bigfoot war, and it's not pretty. Firstly, there's much evidence that Sasquatch populations are increasing everywhere, and across the entire range of where these forest people live. Alright, I'll address that like we're having a conversation, because we're all sitting here at the coffee table, right? I don't know if that's true or not, because you know what? It's only because of the invention, or maybe possibly the time period we were allowed to have the internet. It just made us be able to speak openly and contact anyone, anywhere on the planet, anytime we want. And that is what I believe is the reason behind so many more sightings than before we could openly communicate with each other. Do you know what I mean? I think that's a big factor. I have a feeling We've all been here possibly the same amount of time or longer for one side or the other. Doesn't really make much difference to me, but I believe the same amount, if not possibly more sightings were available before the internet. I think. But you never know. Sorry for the interruption. And then I lost my spot. Secondly, human pressure from unrelenting urban development and habitat destruction continues unabated. Some of the habituators relate the same complaint from the Sabe side about, quote, new huts being built everywhere, end quote. Thirdly, most modern people are completely unwilling and unable to deal with anything so bizarre that challenges their myopic, soda straw view of the commonly held human beliefs of existence. People have been herded in that direction. Experiencers relate their panicked freakouts on one hand to complete psychological breakdown on the other after having endured an unpleasant interaction with these usually aggressive forest giants. Recall some examples that you have read. Quote, of the DTs for 5 days straight, or quitting hunting and fishing forever, or divorcing their wives and families, quitting their jobs and becoming a hermit for a year. It just goes on and on. Never mind the 411 cases that we never hear about. Fourthly, since Bigfoot habitat is decreasing and their numbers are increasing, is this inevitable that they will do exactly what the black bears in New Jersey have done? Move right in and live under our collective suburban noses. Raiding trash cans, ripping up back porches at night, and moving into postage stamp-sized woodlots to sleep during the day. I think there's a lot more to these people than just being a black bear. But I get what you're saying. Lastly, the government knows all about this and has kill teams at the ready for deploying into areas needing pacification. This is a necessary function of modern organized governments. Call it a necessary evil if you'd like, but one that I support and I'm glad to have when that hand slap hits my house at 3 o'clock in the morning or my kids being scoped out as snacks from the woodline. Know this, the government absolutely hates you, but they can't stand by while their taxpayers are destroyed. It's us versus them at that point. All these issues mean that the number of violent encounters are statistically bound to increase as time goes by, particularly in the eastern United States where habitat destruction and urban development are proceeding at a record pace, and deer and feral hog populations are exploding as Bigfoot forage. Finally, what do you think will happen when the hundreds of tribes of 10-foot-tall, 1,000-pound enraged wild men are going to do when they've had enough of being murdered by a proxy war being carried out behind our backs? If you think that they will just lay down and take it forever, watching their land, their mates, and children being slaughtered without fighting back, I think you have another thing coming. Would you take it? The ultimate nuisance animal is coming to a woodlot near you, so you'd better get yourselves ready to see them, deal with them, and defend yourselves when the dam finally breaks and the shooting starts. Because that day is coming soon, and don't expect the police to come and save you when it does. The cops won't even be able to save themselves on that day. The countdown is running, Jim. All right, thanks for the warning, Jim. But I have a feeling human-on-human violence is going to take care of all that problems far before any kind of a, quote, Sasquatch war on humans, or Bigfoot, whatever you call it, starts. What did you say it was? Again, sorry. Oops. What am I doing here? Anyway, sorry. Sorry, you guys. I'm babbling. Now, next, I guess I should be commenting, but who gives a shit what I think, really, right? I mean, let's face it. These, from what we know for certain now, they are far more than just an animal or a wild species that needs a chunk of land to live off of. Far more than that's going down here. Far more. Far more. Going to hell in a handbasket. All right, here we go. Here's the next one. Hi, Steve. I'm Danny Matthews. You can say my name. I'm too old to give a rat's ass what anybody thinks of me. Right on, Danny. Welcome to the Club of Freedom. As per usual, I want to thank you for helping us put the pieces together I've written in a lot with what I've experienced with the forest people and what I've learned, but most haven't been read online. That's okay. I know you're busier than a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest. I've told you before, I'm the guy whose spine collapsed and twisted due to a condition called inoperable, late-onset, adult scoliosis. I have to use a walker to get around, and I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to keep that up. Looks like I'm heading toward a wheelchair. The upping pain is horrific. I can't get out hunting or fishing anymore, and it sucks. Oh, well, enough complaining. Ah, man, I feel for you, man. Feel for you big time. That sucks ass. Just a couple things pertaining to the shit happening now. First, if you haven't, I urge you to check out Suspicious Observers on YouTube. We're heading into a catastrophic event caused by the weakening of the Earth's magnetic field, which is a cycle event that will culminate in worldwide destruction. It's coming and it isn't far off. The West Coast is not safe, just saying. Second, unless our useless governments come clean and stop supplying weapons for these BS wars in the EU and the Middle East, we're facing likely retaliation from people who only want to be left alone. The big R mainly. Agreed. Third, the influx of illegal aliens into the U.S. is likely to cause a terrorist attack or attempted overthrow, since so many are young men of military service age, and a shit ton of them are Chinese. Maybe you could urge the How to Hunt family to gather up supplies of food, water, and or other necessities, and prepare for the coming shitstorm. Okay, enough doom and gloom. I try to find something to make me laugh, and this did. What do you call a male white-tailed deer with 3 testicles? $1.50. Thanks again for telling the truth. Best wishes, good health, and peace, and prosperity to you and Sarah. Danny Matthews, North Robbie, Illinois, USA. Appreciate you, Danny. I think anybody who's aware thinks for themselves, they know what's going on, and they've taken care of business. I'm quite confident, because most of the people I spend time talking to, they know what's up. They know what's up. Appreciate the email concern. Not enough people email concern for the fellow man at times. Next, this is titled My Story. Oops, and I just switched the page and screwed right up here. My story. Hi Steve, thank you for your channel. I was elk hunting in Northeast Oregon in 1998, and I was in the Starkey Game Unit off Highway 84 at Meacham Pass in a spot called Spring Creek. This was an area I had been coming to for about 5 years prior to this trip in 98. I'd not been there from opening day of archery season. I had been there from opening day of archery season, and much to my surprise, I hadn't seen any game, deer or elk. This was unusual in prior years. I had seen elk every day, but I'd been hunting for 3 days and hadn't seen any game. On Monday evening, I was heading back to camp, walking the rough road I was camped on. It was very strange, as there was no activity. No birds, no squirrels, and no deer or elk. It started to get dark, and I was about 10 minutes away from camp. To my right was downhill, to my left... It starting to get dark, and I was about 10 minutes away from camp. To my right was downhill, to my left was a flat with 6 to 8 pine trees bordering the old growth forest to my far left. As I was walking to camp, I heard something that froze me in my tracks. It was a very, very loud growl that started low and got higher and higher in pitch and ended in a scream. I felt this sound in my midsection. The wave of fear that came over me sent a shiver down my back and gave me goosebumps. Whatever made this sound was huge, and about 100 yards away. I think it was at the edge of the old growth forest to my left. As I stood there in disbelief of what I had just heard, I was shaken back to reality as this thing growled again. Same as the first, it started low and went to a scream. It lasted 4 or 5 seconds and was so loud I can't describe it. It was louder than any animal I knew of in those woods. When it sounded off the third time, I ran for camp, loaded all my gear, hitched my truck to the camper trailer, and left in haste, leaving a cloud of dust behind me. After driving about 10 miles or more in the dark, found a place off of the main road, the 54 road, that ended at Highway 244 Ukiah Road, or Ukiah Road. I was still pretty much terrified, and I slept in the if I slept at all. Couple typos. The next day I drove to a place called Crane Flats and camped there on Wednesday. The next day I arrowed a cow elk. Took the quarters to La Grande to get it cut and wrapped. Saturday I picked up my elk meat and drove the 8 hours back to Seattle and never told anyone for years what had actually happened on that trip. I've never been back to Spring Creek, and after hearing recordings of other people's, I have no doubt that I was chased out of the woods by a Sasquatch that night in Spring Creek. My name is Gail. You can use my name. I've got nothing to prove or hide. I'm an old man. I'm of 61 now, and a lifetime of construction work, roofing, and whatnot has worn me out. I move slow, but still active as I can be. I've been cutting firewood for the last couple of weeks, and I'm a little tired today. May God bless you and keep you and yours always. Thank you for your channel and the time you invest in your fellow men and women. Thanks, Gail. Guy? Oh, you spelled your name G-A-I, but you spelled it Gail. Guy, I'm going to call you Guy. There you go. Appreciate you coming forward finally, man. You found the right place to do it. Somebody else is going to fire up with an experience near there, no doubt, if we haven't already had it from there. That scream, right? That scream. What do we got? I don't know what we got, but I'm going to read it. Here we go. Mark this as read. Side note, Guy, make sure you stay active. That's the key, all right? Stay active. Eat healthy. Drink lots of water. Ground yourself out, and you'll be around for a long time. Yet. This is titled, Wild Just Wild. Good day, Steve. You can read out loud the next paragraph or skip down past the next paragraph and start after where I say I'm babbling. Everybody's got to put up with my babble. I'll read it. I'm a Christian woman who prays. I want to keep the demons away. I do not want to invite any demonic spirits in my life. So, I don't need to know why these creatures are here, nor why we are lied to about who or what they are. I've come to learn we are lied to about all the important things, especially why we are here on this earth. I mean, for Pete's sake. Our supposed intellectual educated elites think Let's Go Brandon is actually our president. Really? Remember the emperor has no clothes story? Need I say more? Sorry I'm babbling. It's okay. This is a bit long, LOL, but I really need to get this off my chest, and you are the go-to man. My name is Catherine, and you can use my name. I had a couple of wild experiences in the mid-late 1990s. A lot went down in the 1990s, don't you think? Both of these events occurred in Washington State, but on opposite sides. The first was in the Pacific Northwest where I lived, in the Port Orchard vicinity. I lived next to a 50-acre old-growth forest on two sides of my property. I had a 2.5 acres parcel and was the last house on a long gravel drive. Our property is mostly wooded and contained shallal, spelt shallal, we call it shallal. That was 4 feet high, so walking in the woods was not feasible without using an animal trail or creating your own pathway. Salal grows slowly, but will grow to over 6 feet in shady conditions. Plants in the sun usually grow only about 3 feet. It spreads by sprouting from underground stems. The habitat is one of the most common understory shrubs in our second growth coniferous forest. Number 1. I normally arrive home around 11 from a college class I was taking in Auburn. A girlfriend who attended the same classes and lived with my husband and I at the time, and we would take turns with driving to the college. One night, we both saw the largest snowy white owl and the only one we had ever seen perched in a tree lining my driveway. A sighting of this owl is extremely unusual. A few days later, we once again arrived home, late as usual. We parked the car on the drive, and we both got out of the car and immediately looked at each other in total shock with what I was hearing. I think it was me that asked my girlfriend in a very hushed, whispered tone, "Do you hear that?" She nodded quietly and said, "Yes." I was dumbfounded, truly. It was a very slow intake and outtake breathing that filled the entire property and around us, 360 degrees. It was just as if someone placed huge speakers in the woodlines surrounding the entire property. We slowly walked to the edge of the lawn and peered into the tree line, seeing nothing. That would be creepy as shit. A few days later, I observed a large saucer craft go over my house very slowly, moving towards the direction of Tacoma. I think owls and other craft types are related somehow. But the creepiest thing was the very loud surround sound breathing. Anyone else experienced something like this? Chime in the comment section below if so, or even email me, you guys. Number 2. Another event occurred on my way back from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. I was with my husband and we decided to stop and camp for the night on a lake just west of Spokane, Washington. This campground had cabins and tent sites. Since we brought our tent, we decided to use the tent. I spent the entire day until dusk circling this small lake trying to catch a fish. The only fish I caught really wasn't worth keeping, but I wanted to eat it for dinner. So I decided to hook it on a hook and leave it in the water while I continued to try to catch more. Well, needless to say, I lost the fish and didn't have any fish for dinner. Sucks. So, we went back to shore around dusk and ate something else for dinner. And all of a sudden, there was the loudest scream that lasted at least 15 to 20 seconds, maybe 30. I can hear it in my head just as clearly now as it was then. This was at 9 p.m. The scream started high, then the scream lowered in tone and scale and turned into a melancholy sound that kind of rolled a bit as it was in mourning. As if it was in mourning. And the tone that kept going down more in multiple lower tones until it just trailed off. Exactly at midnight, the scream began again in precisely the same way in tone and duration as the first time. No sound, no animal, no music has ever cut deep into my very soul as this has. Twice. Anyway, this woke me right up. I couldn't go back to sleep for nothing. The next night, we stayed in the cabin. Steve, years later, when that stupid Hunting for Bigfoot show was on TV, I think I did hear a similar but not exact sound that I heard back on that camping trip. I had no idea it could have been a Sasquatch at the time. It never entered my mind. But I'm certain that it was a Sasquatch now for sure. I've tried searching the internet for the sounds that I heard to no avail, nor have I found anyone who describes this sound in such way from your letters that might match this. It was the eeriest, most painful, saddest, melancholy, and longest lasting animal sound I have ever experienced, and it stays with me to this day. Okay, Steve, only for you. Oh, shit. Okay, sorry, guys. Give me a minute. All right, I appreciate the kind words. Words of encouragement, and definitely going to send out prayers and encourage everybody to send out prayers for this person's husband to hopefully help him with his rapidly growing brain cancer, which really sucks. Appreciate the kind words. Yeah, all right, here we go. Who's next? I'm going to mark this as red, as usual. My story and urgent. Ask for support. Hi, Steve. You can use my first name, Linda, from Massachusetts. I'm writing you for 2 reasons. One is to share my experience, which in no way compares to some of what you've read. I've been part of the How to Hunt family since January 2019 while recovering from knee replacement surgery. I've watched every one of your videos. The shares are jaw-dropping at times. Agreed. My story. I've also had my own experiences. I found two X's about 4 feet high in my backyard, probably 20 feet apart from each other, just over the wood line. Very curious about when they showed up because I don't recall seeing them when I moved in 7 years ago. I've heard tree knocks and I've seen some pretty strange things in photography that I've taken around my property. I've had a lot of paranormal activity on my property. From what I understand, the waterways beneath my home are triggered for paranormal activity. Are a trigger for a... Let me read that again. From what I understand, the waterways beneath my home are a trigger for paranormal activity. I had 2 open portals, which I had to pay someone to close. Huh? Before closing them, I had an experience one night when I woke up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom and walked into an apparition in period clothing. Instantly, my body was covered with prickly needles, ice cold. Completely freaked me out. I was standing there in the bathroom. I was half asleep and didn't turn any lights on. There was just enough moonlight to see. It's been a wild ride. I had another very strange experience that to this day I firmly believe it was something other than human interaction. I was driving on a 3-lane highway. In the morning, rush hour, heavily treed on both sides. I was on an overpass with no road beneath. I guess you could say it was like a ravine. And all of a sudden, a stone flew up into the sky over 40 to 50 foot pines easily. It caught my eye, and as I was in traffic driving slow, the stone arced like an upside down U in the sky, and it came down and hit the grill of my vehicle. It shocked me. I'm watching this all play out, puzzled, trying to fathom and rationalize what just happened. I replayed it in my mind over and over, saying there's no way a human did that. It was too far up in the sky. And a perfect hit. In a heavily treed ravine. The stone was maybe a half an inch around. This part of my story some listeners may not believe, but it's my reality. I'm a curious person by nature about everything in life. I'm a thinker and have this need to understand the why, what, and how about everything. So here goes. The experiences that I've had on my property alone would have anyone questioning. I clearly remember on that drive thinking about Sasquatch, UAPs. That's real. What's real in this world? Feeling like everything I knew to be real isn't. I can't say it was a Sasquatch who threw that stone. I can't say it wasn't. But what I can say is a human could not have done that. Steve, I think what you're doing is an amazing, heartfelt give back to everyone whose lives have forever been changed by their experiences. What you're doing will bring about answers, forcing the hands of those who hold this knowledge to come forth and finally share it with the masses. I've always known in my gut since a very young age that we're not alone. Anyone who thinks we are is not living in reality. Please read before you share the below. The second reason I wrote in is my brother was diagnosed with glioblastoma. Glioblastoma at age 52. He's been through brain surgery to remove as much of the tumor as possible. It's a terminal disease. He has a family, a home, and can no longer work. He's at risk of losing his home. He's unable to pay his bills. His wife took FMLA so she could care for him. When she returned to work, her job had been reduced to part-time. What truly angers me is how the system drops people off of their list, if you will. Your insurance runs out at a certain point, your job shuts you out at another point, and you no longer have income. The bills are rolling in and nobody cares. Truly sad part of a sort of affairs that anyone ill faces on the daily basis. Steve, I've shared a GoFundMe link below. If you're not comfortable sharing it, I completely understand. So I'll leave this to your discretion. If you do choose to post this and share it with everyone, as you always say, donate 25 cents, 50 cents, whatever works. We are more than grateful, and thank you so much for what you do. I love the Hat Hunt family. Thank you for all you do, Linda. Okay, Linda, I don't have any link to anything in this email. When did you send this? The other day. Okay, Linda, share it in the comment section below this email, okay? Share it in the comment section, then I'll find and I'll pin it. and send out prayers to help this man. It's true, though. It's so frickin' bizarre. You know, the government cares so much about us. Okay, I'll bite my lip. You know what I'm about to say. What is this? Is it pouring out there? No, it's just windy. Alright, I don't know if should I be reading this or not. I don't know. Here we go. We're all sitting at the coffee table. I don't know what this is about. Could it be some drama? Maybe. We've been pretty drama-free for quite some time, haven't we? I think we have. Let's see. Told to me by someone who knows Bob Gimlin. I don't know. I mean, I got no concern for... We'll see. Let me read it. Dear Steve, first of all, thank you for what you're doing. Those of us who know we've been members of the Club of No Return for most of our lives need a place to tell our stories. Thank you for providing that place. I'm in my 60s now, and I feel like we need those with the details to come clean. The people deserve the truth. Because you've been reading so many encounters lately that refer to various groups of military or black ops men trying to exterminate the Sabe people, I felt like someone had to send you this, even if I must remain anonymous. At least it might open up the conversation. I really don't want to be on anyone's shit list, nor do I want to put anyone else on someone else's shit list. This is heavy material. Thanks for understanding. I'm sure you'll get flamed in the comments. Wait, I'm sure I'll get flamed in the comments for remaining anonymous. Under the circumstances, I wouldn't give a shit. But this involves other people and I'm not going to risk it. I'm not going to use my name or the name of my informant because I don't have their permission to do so. This is some information told to me by a person who has been in the inner circle of some of the very prominent people who make their living in the Bigfoot community. I met them when I was camping in Washington State. They were very nice and confided in me that most of these guys are arrogant bastards who are jealous of anyone who has made real contact with the Sasquatch people. No surprise, I'm guessing, LOL. I felt that this person was telling me the God's honest truth. They had no reason to do otherwise. Are we going to get a bunch of goop and gossip without a name attached to it from you? I don't know if I should be doing this. My gut's starting to grumble. The real reason for my writing, however, is this. This person knows Bob Gimlin. There's a few Bob Gimlins in the world, isn't there? They told me that once, and I'm paraphrasing here, but this is the real gist of it, when he and everyone had been drinking after Sasquatch conference, he told this person that when he and Roger Patterson were going out to try and get that now famous footage of Patty, they were actually accompanied by some other men. I don't know the details of this, sorry. But I do recall them mentioning that there was a fish and wildlife officer with them as well, and these guys wanted to go along in some official capacity. Apparently, Patty's family group was known to be living in that area of Bluff Creek. Again, I don't have all the details. I know there will be 10 million questions in the comments. Honestly, don't bother. I can't tell you any more than what I'm writing. It was several years ago that I was told this myself. Anyway, I'll try to cut to the chase. When Patterson and Gimlin were filming, these other men had been directed to stay behind the camera, just like in any filming situation. After getting the now famous bit of footage, they followed Patty to where her other family members were. These other men opened fire on the entire family group. The clip that we are seeing are last precious moments of Patty's life. They gunned her down in cold blood along with the rest of her family. I don't know how many Sabe were there, but it was more than just her. We can't know what Roger Patterson did or did not know about these other men, but I was told that Bob Gimlin had no idea that this was going to happen. In classic form, the government guys threatened them and told them to never speak about the killing or else, for whatever reason. They were allowed to keep that famous piece of film, but most of it was confiscated. They also encouraged them to have their friends drum up the hoaxing stories to add extra doubt on the entire thing. According to the person I talked to, Bob Gimlin cried when he told them this, and has never been able to deal with what those men did, and drinks quite a bit to contain his pain as a result. It must be very difficult to have the thing that brought you so much fame in your life be in reality a heinous act. Bob's now in his 90s. Sir, if you're listening, please, please, please tell us what really happened before you leave this world. If you're holding on to this end of the original ball of yarn, please help the rest of us unravel all the knots in it. A statement from you would change the course of history. Thank you. Much love, Steve. I've never written into you before, but I've always wanted to say I'm sorry about your losing your horse. Have a great summer. Okay. I don't know. On the fence. I read it. We're at the coffee table. Whatever. This topic's been beat to death. Right? And this topic goes back to, was it 1967? Me? Do I have interest? Nope. Remember in the very beginning, I had a lot of people coming forward. I don't say big names. I mean popular names that you all know. When it comes to this topic, missing people, all of them. They all piled down to me deep. Told me a lot of what they claim as facts. They also had somebody, Roger Patterson's wife, was apparently about to come forward, or some other relative at the time in the beginning, and was going to tell all with me, including pieces of these dead beings. Never happened. Do I care? No. I couldn't give a flying shit. Personally, that whole topic and all the drama that surrounds it, I don't give a flying shit. 0, we are a millennia past it. You know what I mean? We are so far past the Patterson-Gimlin film clip and the drama surrounding it and the douchebags trying to profiteer off of it. Right? So, moving along. Will something come of this? Who knows? We'll see. My Bigfoot stories. Hi, Steve. My name is Melanie. Watch you almost every day. Love what you do for so many. I've debated for several years on sending in my story, thinking it might not be much. Never think that. Never think that. During this time, I sent my story to another Bigfoot site, but wanted to send it to you. There's a difference. We've got Bigfoot sites, and then we just got the people. We're just the people here. During this time, I'd sent my story to another Bigfoot site, but I want to send it to you. My first story is a short one. It feels like it was way longer, but it lasted like 3 or 5 seconds total. Okay. I've lived in Kansas for almost 40 years now, off and on. I hated it in the beginning, but finding that I cannot wait to get back when I'm away for too long. Enough of that. My ex, or a friend, and I decided to go for a drive out to a lake not far from us. The year before, we had a lot of rain that caused the lake to close due to flooding. We wanted to see how bad it was. When we got there, we parked the car up on a hill and got out. We walked around and could see they were not going to open it up this year either. It had destroyed everything. We could see it had flooded over campsites that sat on a hill. The trees were down everywhere. I need to add, there's a guy that was driving crazy. It looked like he was looking for his lost dog. The evergreens and some trees were still standing. When we were almost back to the car, we decided to walk down a short road that was a roundabout. As we were almost to the bottom, you could look up and see the car, where a row of young, I'm guessing evergreens, standing about 5 or 6 feet tall. They were just on the other side. We were looking around and talking about everything going on. And for some reason, something told me to turn around. And as I did, up on the hill on the other side of the evergreens was a bipedal figure running to the east. I could only see a side version from the top of his chest to the peak of his head, which I would say was 2 to 3 feet. It looked right at me. I think I stopped breathing and I couldn't speak. It was like he was running from something. It was like it took 3 steps in stride, then went to all 4s. Right after that, we seen the guy that we've seen several times fly by us again. And at that point, I stopped guessing, and for some reason, I knew then what he was looking for. Wow. I do have another kind of sighting that I will try to keep short, so if you have time, then throw it in there. If not, Don't worry about it. I'll understand. I went to Prescott, Arizona to visit my oldest son and his family. I couldn't sleep, so I went out on the back deck and sat down. They have their backyard, and then there's a nice walking path that goes in between their yard and the neighbors that would be right behind them. To the south, there's a few extra homes being built between other homes. It was about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm on the back deck. I heard these noises. Okay, I don't know how you would spell out this, so it's the best I got. But uwo e aha lol. It sounded like monkeys playing, coming from the area of the construction site. I heard these sounds, but the pitch of it, Steve, is not anything that a person could ever make. You could literally feel it in your chest. I got up and ran into the house. I don't know if a Sasquatch makes noises monkeys make, but it was weird, and it scared me enough to run back into the house. I haven't told anyone that one. So that was that. I do have another, but I will send another time. Thank you again, Steve, for taking your time to reading this. God bless you, and all be safe. All right, God bless you too. Thanks for sending that in. Too bad you didn't get it all in one email, though. You want to get it all in one, believe me. Believe me. How long's this one? Okay, I'm going to go read one more, because I'm now absolutely relaxing, and my eyes are feeling heavy. Northern Minnesota deer hunts title this email. Steve, don't use my name. Gotcha. What's up, brother? I've been on your channels for years and wanted to reach out with my weird tale of what the F. My father and I would attend the annual deer hunting season in northern Minnesota, north of Keewatin, Keewatin, by about 25 miles. Epping in the middle of nowhere. You know the routine. I was in my early teens, and the dads went to the watering hole while us teens stayed back at the cabin playing poker and sitting in our long johns, keeping the cabin warm. The cabin consisted of white gas lanterns, jugs of water and on the counter, and the sweet smell of pine and birch burning in the stove, and cast iron heater. Pot belly fireplace. God, I love this stuff. I still do to this day. My buds and I went to bed about 11 p.m., and the dads came in about 2 a.m. You know the drill. Dad piled onto me and woke me up at 4 a.m. to get ready for the hunt. Gussie cooked the breakfast, and it was the best every year. Bacon, fried eggs, frozen donuts, and hot coffee. All of us in a small cabin that sleeps 6, but we were 12. We all piled out at about 5 a.m. to our hunting spots under a fresh 1.5 inches of snow. Roughly minus 15 American temperature Fahrenheit. Dad and I went in about 2 miles long before the sun came up and sat on a ridge listening to absolutely nothing. Birds? Nope. Chipmunks? Nope. Nothing. As the sun come up, you could see the ice crystals hanging in the forest about treetops, but also could see blue skies are on its way. On about 7:30 a.m., nothing moving, no sound, nothing. Then, wham! A tree pop about 50 yards out. I looked at Dad and he whispers, bark popping. Okay, I don't know any better. Then another, about 50 yards to our left, another tree pop. Look at Dad. It doesn't say anything. Keep in mind, not a sound in the woods. No birds, no chipmunks, no squirrels, nothing. And it is still, but cold, and come to find out, we are lost, we think. Dad is turned around, and he whispers, okay, let's just sit and wait and see if we hear gunshots. Another 30 minutes and nothing. Another tree pop behind us. I don't know any different in 1976. We knew about the big guy back then. Sorry. I don't know any different in 1976 who knew about the big guy back then. A lot more people than we have been informed about. Then out of the blue, a fighter jet scrapes the treetops to the point of the new, to the point the new snow starts filtering out of the trees, really loud, and scares the crap out of us. Then dead quiet again for 10 minutes. We decided to head back to camp due east when a fighter jet screams over our head at treetop level again. Nothing after that, but we didn't see one whitetail that weekend. My dad smoked a lot, and you can't hunt and smoke. I'm happy to say I polished my hunting skills to the point of bagging several whitetails and able to stalk the deer. I can walk down a logging road today and you shouldn't hear me at all or smell me. Thanks, Steve, and keep the emails coming. You're helping us, all of us, get to the promised land. Okay, here's a little quick one for me. Oh, all right, man. Sad end of the story. I hope you're still hunting. Don't quit hunting. The Jets? That's an odd note, right? What do we got? Here's a short one. Okay, I'm gonna read this one more. It's a short one. No subject is in the title. Hello from Croatia, sir. Holy shit, Croatia is in the house. I'm a truth seeker myself. Recently found your channel, and I enjoy listening to people's experiences. I've had many strange / paranormal / spiritual experiences through my life. But I'm obsessed with one topic in particular, and that is the dog man. Huh. Maybe because I was face to face with one 2 times. The first time, it happened when I was 4 years old in Austria. It was knocking on the window. So I got out of bed and went to see, and there it was. And I know it sounds crazy, but it smiled at me. The second time happened when I was 14 in a small village at the foothills of a mountain in Croatia. I stumbled on it in the dark. A giant wolf in front of me, just looking at me. Both times I spoke to them, they didn't talk back, lol. But I'm still here. I actually think they were there to protect me. My late father saw one too, when we were on a road trip. This happened in Andorra, Andorra, in the middle of nowhere. He saw it that night, but I didn't. I don't believe in coincidences. I think that was a message for him. My father and I had one more experience when we got lost in the woods and we were followed by something. We didn't see it, but I believe it was a dog man. And in the end, I have to say that I feel a great amount of respect for the wolf people. And this is how I look at them, as people, not animals. Bigfoot too. I believe they are protectors and guardians. But there are evil ones too, just like people. And for understanding their nature better, I believe it is necessary to understand the nature of reality itself. And for that, I recommend reading books. Books are burned through history with a reason, to keep us in the dark. Respectfully, Nicola. Okay, man. The dog man thing again, right? Lots of people have seen these beings. I haven't. Do I want to? Not really. Are they protectors? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe we just have other protectors who are not of these origins, right? I don't know. But anyway, there you go. I'm now absolutely relaxed. I'm so tired and stupid. I'm going to go and get a shower, get some sleep, be sharp for tomorrow, and have an interesting conversation with somebody I don't know yet. And see what they know. What they want to know. We'll see. I don't think that's going to be on my channel. I think that'll be on his Rumble channel, I believe. Or who knows? Maybe I'll put that on my Rumble channel too, maybe. We'll see. Whatever. And then carry on from there. I got some other emails out of people I need to get hold of. My brain's not the sharpest pin in the bag right now, so I know I got to get a hold of some other people and keep this ball rolling big time. Now, I'm going to get off of here and crack open the internet and see what's going on in the world. and then start processing fish. Okay, here we go. Email me. Anything you're curious about or possibly need from here is in the comment section or in the video description below. All right? I'll be back tomorrow.